Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming join us for the last edition of the Tech Spot of this year. My name is Jessica Chen. I'll be the host today, and we have a special guest, Fred. Hi, Fred.
Hey everyone.
So yes, today we're going to talk about the 2026 market outlook and meanwhile focus market. This is going to be the fun one. We're going to try to make it fun. It's nothing about technical topic today, but definitely it's kind of more from our perspective, how we kind of see the market will be like in next year, along with some of the challenge that we are seeing for the big environment. But along with the meanwhile focus, right? We know a lot of things we cannot control, but we can control what we can control. So on meanwhile side, some of the planning of focus markets, some meanwhile marketing activity, and along with some of the action that we plan to do on that part. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get started. So yeah, Fred, I think this year's pretty good for us, and you probably kind of think happy we didn't have any custom today, and the marketing team. I think last year we didn't have a good year to put us on this Halloween costume.
Yeah, I
this
appreciate
year.
no Halloween costume this year.
Right. So we didn't have to dress as a turkey on that part, but yeah, I think for 2026, some of the market outlook kind of list down a few of the topic we want to kind of go over on that, but kind of what you see from your perspective, like overall market, and then later we can kind of talk about on the meanwhile side as well too.
Yeah, I think similar from a direct side, we definitely saw growth pretty much the same as the distribution side. So I think that speaks to the entire North America market growing. But in terms of the global growth, some people may or may find this interesting. Meanwhile grew globally as well. I think we are on track to exceed, come close to over $1.1 billion. But I think, when we talk about global, obviously we care about North America, but we also, the big, elephant in the room is China, right? So I was just taking a look at some of the numbers. I think the revenue for North America and China are both going to grow double digits, which is great, right? That's definitely great for Meanwhile. But we don't just look at revenue growth, we also look at the market share. So, again, I know we've got a lot of topics here, geopolitical risks, tariffs. The sentiment tends to be there's got to be a winner and a loser, right? Especially us being an Asian company, there's got to be a winner and a loser. But I think, as I mentioned, both China and the US, the revenue is going to grow for Meanwhile, right? Double digits, but also the market share. I think China's market share and Meanwhile USA's market share are both going to grow, which is interesting, which is essentially a win-win. And I think that's great for Meanwhile, obviously as a whole, but I think that also is great for us in North America as well. So
Sure.
yeah.
Oh, that's great. So yeah, 2025, you probably don't hear myself or some of our team kind of pushing you guys so hard because the number is great, right? And I like Fred mentioned, with everything going on this year, the roller coaster ride that we have, as a Meanwhile side, basically, we grow our market share, we grow our sales, both in double digits. So, with the tariff thing, even with the China and the US, and we see that as a win-win on our side, right? But let's talk about like 2026. I think a lot of things in terms of a tariff that might be kind of some people kind of get used to it. It is what it is, right? But it's still part of it, still part of the affecting main factor of the business that we are in, right? So what you kind of see in 2006, in terms of our post-COVID world.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that there is, I think everything should be stabilized. I think this time last year, we were coming out of a presidential election, so a lot of things were uncertain. There's a lot of uncertainty. I definitely feel a lot more optimistic this year going into 2026 because obviously, I think a lot of things have become stabilized, right, in terms of our relations with China. I know there's a lot of geopolitical risk, and that geopolitical risk will always be there. But I think entering into 2026, I think there's at least more certainty now, right? We're going into the second year of the administration. So, and obviously with recent tariffs and a kind of an understanding in terms of how our two countries
Sure.
will essentially work with one another. I think that's at least, I'm a little bit more optimistic this year than I was last year.
Yeah.
Because last year was really a wild card. I think with this year, I think we've at least gotten some stability, which is not, as salespeople, that's what we want, but I think that's what our customers want as well,
Yeah.
right? So I think that stability will definitely help us out going into 2026. So
No, that's great. That's great. And I think, with even everything's out there in the world, we know, every country is get hit by tariff,
Yeah.
right? Not just the US. And I think in terms of power supply manufacturer, we try to kind of adjust different program, adjust different manufacturer side, but at the end, something changed, then we had to adjust again. So I think we are in the world, the world is constant changing, right? The big environment is changing. We just kind of really have to kind of adapt to it and then accept it. And I think that's one of the things we can do right now, right? But in terms of the supply chain and lead time, I think that's a lot of people kind of ask about it. Do you kind of see that, because earlier we mentioned, we'll be up by double digits this year. I think for North America, it's going to be 20+%, which is great. And, few of our distribution partner, they're stocking up their inventory, like they're crazy. They think it's 2026, I get mixed. Some people was like, hey, we want to prepare our inventory status, we want to buy more. And then they like, hey, will you have a supply chain issue? Well, meanwhile, have the allocation again, right? So do you kind of see that in terms of like right now in terms of a component supply chain issue or the upcoming in 2026?
No, I think, well, there's always going to be supply chain issues, but I think whatever concerns some of our partners may have on supply chain is going to be minimal, right? I won't say they're going to be non-existent, but I definitely they'll be minimal because if you take a look back when we previously had supply chain issues, I think that was coming out of post-COVID, right? So not only was there a increased demand for our products, but I think the supply chain was constrained. Obviously, a lot of countries coming out of COVID, they didn't come out of COVID as fast as North America did, right? So some of them are still shut down, so on and so forth. So I think for us this year, while the demand is similar, if not greater than 2021, 2022, I think the supply is a lot healthier now than it was a few years ago, right? But in terms of our supply chain, our lead time, I mean, I'd bet $1,000 that you can't find another supplier better than Meanwhile in terms of how we handle our supply chain and our lead times. So
Yeah, kind of mention about lead time. So, I can probably say Meanwhile probably have one of the best lead time program in the power supply world, right? So, for most of the product series, our production lead time is 30 days. But of course, that's a worst case scenario, right? We have a stock in our factory, we have a stock in the USA office, and many of our distribution partners have millions dollar stock on their side. So I think we are in a very healthy position in terms of the stock inventory. And as right now, I don't think our lead time will be changing anytime soon in terms of a supply chain related issue. So yeah, meanwhile, we have over 15,000 standard parts of the shelf. So I think it's a very important that we work very closely with our supply chain and then have all the components that's in pipelines coming in prepare for our sales growth on that part.
Yeah. And I'll add a little bit about that in terms of although I handle the direct side, we pass a lot of customers or distributors, and what our customers are saying is that inventory is key, right? Obviously, for us as a manufacturer, we can manage or mitigate supply chain or lead times from a manufacturing standpoint. But in terms of delivery, that's where we probably need to rely from our distributors. And from what I see on the outside, the distributors that are doing well, that are winning, there's a reason for that. Their inventory levels are high. So for all of our distributor partners, definitely keep it up, maintain that inventory level, but also their means to increase it definitely helps out all of us as well. So
did you say the inventory is the key or is the king?
Oh, key, yeah. Key. It's definitely key and king.
Yeah.
Right. You can't spell there's a funny thing, I just came up with this. It's winventory, right? You can't spell winventory without inventory. So if you want to win, stock inventory.
There you go. Yeah, I heard, the king probably is talking about from a founder. He's like, yeah, you guys probably hear some of the slogan that we talk. We have many slogan, no stock, no service, no business, right? So I think that's very important tied together with the inventory and service as well too. Great. So let's move to the next slide. So let's talk about sales plan. I know this year, we have a lot of sales plan to put together. Some of it went through, some of it did not went through, but I think this is more of our 2026 plan. And then, using some of those activities, some of those plan, then we definitely want to, increase sales, right? That's the big key thing, right? And the honest truth, right? Why we doing all this? Because we want more sales, we want more market share, right? So yeah, Frank, can you talk about, with the MPI expansion? I think few years ago, I think the other customer, they put their project on hold, right? And for meanwhile, we didn't have an MPI product during the COVID time. I mean, we did, but just few here and there. And I still remember many customers told us the reason why they want to become our distributor, what meanwhile is kind of continue sales growth is we have the great MPI plan, right? We continue come up with a new product, right? We will send it off the shelf, product manufacturer. So we need to continue to look into our MPI and our MPI expansion. So can you kind of talk about maybe
It's right. We're coming out with new products of our core products, right?
Sure.
So our AC to DC switching power supplies, we're coming out with new products, but that's our core business, our bread and butter. But we're also, some of you are probably noticing, we're going to be doubling down, right, in terms of offering new products that we traditionally didn't offer, right? Some of the PowerNex products, you talk, enclosures, batteries, complementary, relays, fans, right? We're trying to offer new products, not necessarily new to the customer, but new to Meanwhile, right? And that'll just allow the sales teams, whether it's from anyone who carries the Meanwhile product, just gives them another bullet in their arsenal to say, hey, well, did you know that Meanwhile offers these products, and they can sell it, increase their average sales, and or sometimes I just find it as a great tool to just allow the salesperson to talk to the customer and say, hey, Meanwhile's got something new or something different, right? So we're always looking for a different message. So I think the MPI, not only is it just for new products, but it'll allow us to go into new markets that we traditionally weren't in as well. So
Great. And then, so I think we have next slide to kind of talk about our target industry. So we'll go a little bit more detail in that part. But the next is like the, co-visit, basically kind of go, visit some of the customer. And what is so importantly, like, we could just be the Amazon company, right? Just the online, just sell our stuff. We want to send a product. What is so importantly that we need to go see the customer, right? Both with the distribution partner or on the Meanwhile directly, right? To understand their product. What do you think is so important that we need to do that?
Well, definitely, those customer visits actually kind of coincide with kind of the new products, right? Sometimes we get inspiration of new products from our customers, right? Sometimes we may go in talking with the customer, and they may be looking for a solution that we may not have, right? So, a lot of times, maybe traditionally we would just walk away, but maybe now with new products beyond power supplies, and or as we also have our Meanwhile Power Solutions, our value-added center, right? So essentially we are trying to get another look, maybe trying to get creative, right? Is there new products that maybe we can bring in to our PowerNex portfolio, maybe that we're unaware of, and or maybe we can come out with customized power solutions and get creative from there, right? So, but really seeing customers seeing it upfront is critical for MPI. But I think the other component is just even from a service standpoint, I think Meanwhile we have a compelling story to tell, right? But then again, there's always a lot of things that's really not only telling the Meanwhile story, but also getting a better understanding of what's important to the customer. Is it inventory? Is it product? so on and so forth, right? Is it pricing? Is it lead times? You know, we talked about a lot of those different things. So I think meanwhile, we have a compelling story and or a lot of value that we can bring, not just from pricing, not just from lead times, but also from products, also from complementary products. So yeah, definitely seeing those customers upfront in person will allow us to essentially tell that story.
Sure, yeah. So that kind of tied together, no service, right? I think
Yeah.
it's important. A lot of time we go see customers, it's all about service, right? And a lot of time we talk about technical stuff at the meeting, right? We bring our engineer team and yeah, and then they talk about, hey, what support can you support us in terms of inventory and then or pricing, right? And then and understand the newer technology, right? Maybe they are all meanwhile business for many years, right? They're coming out with the new generation of the product and then meanwhile coming out with a new generation of product. So we can kind of in line with that to see, hey, what some of the customers are doing out in the world that we don't know. And sometimes going back that idea, right? So like kind of, earlier mentioned about, with the MPF product, we are going into, a lot more of newer technology and the smaller footprint. So I think it's important we get out there to visit customer to understand, hey, what's the market like now, right? What's the customer's design? So I think that's one of the very important factor for our sales plan next year. And tied together with the office training, I think this is on the distribution side. This year we probably visited over 20 plus distribution office, and then I think this is very important that we go out there and do a lot of mind share, right? So I kind of joke about it, and then but it is true. I always ask question at the beginning of the training. I say, hey, do anybody know who's Meanwhile? What do we do? And sometimes they like, Meanwhile, do you fan or connector? And then, some of our distribution partner, they have so many product line. And then it's not their fault, right? They don't know one of the line card. It's called Meanwhile. What do they do? So it's very important for us to get out there, and we want to continue to do that, right? And if it take for us to travel on Sunday, because most of the trainings on Monday, right? 30-minute training, and we think that kind of go far way on that part. So we definitely continue going to do that. And along with the C1 to C3 online export, by the way, if you haven't checked out our online export, Meanwhile have this awesome page on the Meanwhile main page. Basically, you can go into each hall. Each hall kind of give you lots of information about our product, new product and video. The C1 to C3, how kind of like you mentioned, right? We want to add on a lot of a complement product to our power supply, right? We want to create this one-stop shopping solution for many of our partners. So basically right now you can find a battery, you can find a connector, you can find a switch. So we are carrying all this product, right, in complement. So when your customer say, hey, I'm using the Meanwhile charger, do you have a battery that yourself? Meanwhile has that. And we are looking for new sales channels. So don't get me wrong. We love our current distribution channel, but we do believe the C1 to C3, how those kind of the accessory unit might kind of travel to this region for 5 times this year, and we see quite a bit of potential on that area, and we definitely want to continue to do that in 2026, and then go do more training, go visit more customer with our distribution partner. How about Fred? What do you see some of the potential in Mexico market?
Yeah, well, I think with Mexico, they're definitely Mexico has always been a critical partner for US companies, based companies who have been manufacturing in south of the border in Mexico. Obviously, everyone knows about contract manufacturers or EMS companies, the J-Bills, the Flextronics, Electron, Celestica, so on and so forth. They all have a presence there, right? And I think a lot of it is just due to kind of what we talked about in the earliest slides: geopolitical risk, tariff mitigation, supply chain, lead times, and even cost, right? But I think one thing that we maybe haven't underlooked is the smaller companies. There are a lot of smaller contract manufacturers down there that maybe support not only North America, But also Mexico does a lot of manufacturing for other South American countries, Brazil, Argentina, those countries all have their own industries, but they may not necessarily have the infrastructure to do their own manufacturing. So they will actually rely on Mexico and Mexico companies to not only manufacture for them, but also do design. So there's definitely potential there's definitely potential in Mexico, not only for North America, but also for South America.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah, but yeah, like you mentioned, I think for Mexico, when we were down there, we love the energy and the business. It's definitely smaller. The business, like basically it's nothing like big 50K or 100K, but there's a lot more smaller size and a lot more business out there, right? Before we view in Mexico, just kind of like it was a CM down there, but couple visits we went down there, we think, hey, that's something that we definitely want to put a little more resource and investment in 2026 on that part. Great. So let's go ahead. The next slide. So yeah. So we want to talk about the marketing plan. Yeah, so I think this is one of
This is your world right here. So what do we got on?
Yeah, this is a fun part.
Yeah. You
Story.
get to spend the money, so
Yeah, so I always say the marketing team is the spending money group, right? So I think that's so important. We need to invest. We need to invest in the marketing. I think marketing tie very closely together with our sales team, right? So one of the things what we plan to do is it definitely enhancing and expanding our branding, right? As you all maybe already met, we have a new marketing branding marketer, right? She did join the team about 4 months ago, and definitely that's something we want to do more of it, right? Basically expanding and also enhancing our branding. And on the slide, you can kind of see this is kind of sneak peek for our trade show for the MDN show, right? In the past, we would just have 10 by 10, 10 by 20 booths, kind of just okay set up, but definitely now you probably go to different trade shows and see new exhibit. We definitely want to have that more of that branding, not just for the look, but definitely kind of enhance or uplifting of our branding. So you will see a lot more of that. And we listed down the trade show we will be attending for 2026, along with the co-op trade show. So we are working with the team, you guys, to work on the 2026 plan. I think this year we co-op 11 additional trade show.
Wow.
Yeah, in the Mexico region, in Canada, and in different industries. So we want our customers to say, hey, if they go to robotics show, you see Minwo there with our distribution partner, or when you go to the medical show, you see Minwo are there. And so book it down those days. So please stop by if you're in the area, say hi to us, and more importantly, check out our newest product that will be featured there. Sometimes you might see some product we haven't shown the world yet, but you can see it at our trade show. And I talk about it, budgeting, right? So we're doing budgeting every year. Meanwhile, invest more on marketing, right? No matter the sales down or up, we always will increase our budget because we think marketing is so important with our sales on that part, right? And then you will see more content that's being created. I think right now this year we started doing now more demo video, and along with animation video. So check out on that. This is a great video too, within a minute. And you would learn a lot of new product or some of our focus industry. And the SDG and the ESG, that's something that we want to continue to focus on. And as a meanwhile, business has grown. Our founder is true believer that we need to give it back to the society. So you will see us doing a lot more of the volunteer work and charity event along, build the world for greater for our next generation. So I think our company, talk about, every factory we have a report you can find to save the energy, save the water, and then go green. That's something that the message crossing the border with all the office that we need to do that.
Yeah. That's great. I think it's, sometimes you like to term, I know a lot of distributors have already heard this, like, oh, Vivo's a unique company. We are.
Unicorn, right?
I think
Or-
I think we have a unique story, and I
Sure.
think we have a compelling story, and it goes beyond just power supplies. It goes beyond just customer supplier relations,
Sure.
right? So,
Yeah, shout out to the person who said Mingwa was a unique company. You know who you are. And I say, I take that as a compliment, right? And then we are one of the unicorn in the industry. We do think differently, but we want to try to do the right thing on that. Great. Okay, so Mingwa focus market. And so this particular slide and information is given by our product manager side. So Fred, what do you think they take the three focus market for next year? The industrial automation, I know Mingwa is very strong on it, but they put some of the sub market we want to kind of focus on more of the AGV automation control. And energy storage, that's a new one, right? That's something that's
Yeah.
never in our focus market. And medical, being in the US, I think medical, we're always the leader in the world in terms of the medical equipment. And so, yeah, this is the three of the main focus on that. And then what's the reason you think maybe our team to kind of pick this as a market? And then also from your perspective,
Yeah.
from your business side, do you see this as kind of growing in market in coming year?
Yeah, well, definitely with the industrial automation market, that's always going to be our stronghold, right?
Mhm.
That's always going to be our main focus market. But as everyone knows, the industrial automation market has really, I won't say morphed, but it really encompasses what everyone's hearing nowadays: robotics, automation, artificial intelligence, right? It's really automating the process that was originally done manually, right? That's essentially the definition of automation, right? So while we are sticking with an existing market, we're coming out with newer, better products. As you can see on the right, the XDR, all those different types of products that are suitable for those specific markets, right? The safety certifications, right? We're not just coming out with something that's newer and cheaper. As you know, as you enter into some of these markets, the standards continue to change, right? So that's hence the reason why we're coming up with products. Energy storage, I think, even with industrial automation, I think that's critical for customers here in North America, because as you know, North American customers, we tend to be more focused on infrastructure, right? Not necessarily end products, but infrastructure projects, right? So for us, we're coming out with, next gen products. Our inverters, our battery chargers, are really suited for some of those industries, right? Green energy is always going to be a major market for North America and Europe, right? We
Yeah.
consider ourselves having
Yeah, I think
social responsibility to doing that. So
Europe has a pretty big focus on that energy storage.
yeah. And obviously medical, right? That's an industry that's nothing new. But it continues to be stable and it continues to grow. But it also continues to be, I guess, underserved, right? That's still while it is growing, it's still relatively represents a low percentage of our sales, but that definitely still gives us a lot more opportunity, right? And coming out with new products, specifically geared for the medical industry is going to be complementary. So
Great. So yeah, some of the product we listed, the NSP series, you guys hear about it this year. We continue to talk about it. I think right now with the new generation of the product, not just getting smaller footprint, but you will see MSP, LP, MMP series. We both apply both medical and IT graded. So make it easier for our customer or distributor, say, to design and stock, right? You can stock this one part number, design both in the industrial part or the medical part on that part. And the XDR, you guys hear us have a big launch of the XDR and the XTR series. So that's also another big product family this year and then continue next year. You guys will hear us talk about it in a more on the automation world as well too. So yeah, stay tuned and also our sales team right now share the data monthly, letting you know what's the next 3 months or so, some of the new product that's coming out. So look out for those email as well. Great. So yeah, that conclude our training for the day, and then the next edition, it's going to be in January. So we have Carol Lorraine and going to be our speaker for the 2026 marketing overview. So kick off the meeting on January 29th to talk about, hey, what's the meanwhile planning in terms of marketing on that. So yeah, please save it on your calendar. You will receive an invite and we send a reminder, maybe too much invite, but hey, we want to make sure you can join this event. So, well, thank you so much, Fred.
Oh,
Thank
thanks for
you.
having me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. And we want to wish you all have a happy Thanksgiving and enjoy the holiday with your family. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.